If you're looking for exclusive content, please don't look any further than joining the Trap Talk Patreon family. Some of the best reptile keepers in this industry are part of the Trap Talk Patreon family. As soon as you join the Patreon family, you connect to a Discord. You can also tap into an Instagram group chat, connect with some of the most diverse keepers we have in the reptile hobby today. Shout out to my Patreon members and be ready for Trap Fest 2026. It's going to be one of the biggest events yet. Find all information again in the very first link in the description below. And again, thank you so much to all my fellow Patreon members out there. Cheers. Shout out to US ARC and all the US ARC members. If you don't know what US ARC is, do not be ashamed. Simply click on the third link in the description below. Go to usarc.org. See what it's all about. See how you could actually protect your own collection whenever a legislation might hit your backyard. You just never know. Things are changing constantly in the reptile hobby, and it's good to know when things are creeping up in your area. So shout out to Phil Goss, shout out to Vanessa, shout out to Jeremy, shout out to all the US ARC supporters and teammates out there. Cannot wait to see how much we fight this year to keep our animal rights. And if you're not a US ARC member, talk to your fellow keepers and just let them know what US ARC's all about, and they're here to protect our animal rights. Shout out to US ARC and all the US ARC supporters.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Trap Talk Reptile Network, coolest reptile network in the world, episode 724. This is the very first On the Tree Tuesday of 2026, and we are starting it in a banging type energy way. John Irby, the return, Mid-Atlantic Arboreals on this beautiful Tuesday evening. But if it's your first time watching, what is good? Smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. You'll be reminded of every podcast released out of the network 7 days a week. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. What's up, fellas?
What's up?
Happy 2026, boys.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been a year since we've done a podcast. I feel like we've been off for a minute now.
It's been 3 weeks.
I don't know, maybe it feels longer. I don't know, man. But hey, here we are. What's shaking? What's going on? Bill, catch us up, man. How you been? How's the new year for you so far?
Good. Been busy, but good. Been traveling a little bit. Just got back from a wedding last weekend to kind of cap off the new year. That was great. My niece got married. So 2026 has started off great.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what wedding? Okay, first and foremost, one thing that stood out in my head looking at those photos, Bill, I was like, damn, like I almost want to marry Lily again just to invite you to my wedding, like just to have you at a wedding, because it looks like every wedding you attend, Bill, you're like the life of the party. It seems like, is that pretty accurate?
I wouldn't say I was the life of the party. These are like kids that are just right out of college, so I'm just trying to stand back and stay out of the way.
Yeah, it seems like you had a good time though. Yeah, for sure, dude. Let's see, last time we spoke, you just had your last clutch, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty not too long. Feeding trials are going great. Had the Manicory fluke clutch of 13. All those babies are eating great. And then I've got the freight train decoy clutch. 16 of those are eating. I've got one that's eating pink heads off the tongs. I posted a picture today of that little guy. And then I've got 3 that are being assist fed. So not too bad. 23 assist feeding out of 20. I'll take it all day long.
And you also have eggs in the incubator still? No, right? Don't you have eggs?
I don't. Alex has a small clutch in the incubator, but no, I don't. I won't have any eggs for quite some time now.
Okay, fuck, dude. I was gonna say finally.
Yeah, I'm ready for a little breather. I went out today and spent 3.5 hours just feeding. So you know how that goes.
Yeah, man. Definitely do. Marshall, how you living, buddy? Good to see you. What's shaking over in your end?
Man, not too much. Just got a small clutch right
All that.
right there at the end of the year last year. I think it was like a day or two after Christmas.
Yeah.
Not great, not great results. She laid, I think it was 16 total. 11 of them or thereabouts were obviously, they were clear slugs, and then none of the ones that were shelled had great veins. And there were 6. I threw 3 out a few weeks ago, or about a week ago, and I think I'm going to throw 2 more out tonight. So I've got 3 eggs left.
Damn.
So, yeah.
3.
We'll see.
Yep.
How
many times before, 3's better than none.
Yeah, that's right.
3's better than 2, 3's better than 1, and 3's better than none.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be happy with 1 because honestly, none of them are showing great. Great when you candle them. And I didn't see very many. I don't think I recorded any copulations with the pair. I mean, they were together and they were, snuggled up for a couple weeks, but I never actually saw a copulation. So it's not a total surprise.
We'll have to get Mr. Irby's input and some theories about why we get clutches like that. Why do we have clutches that are primarily slugs, poorly veined, don't incubate well? What are some theories by why that happens?
Yeah. I just don't know if there wasn't enough action going on. But as we all know, it just takes once. So I don't think that's always the answer.
No, for sure. And lots of different reasons. I certainly think a young male can contribute to that.
Yeah.
I had a clutch last year, 6 eggs. Just from a 2.5-year-old first-time breeder male, and I think that can certainly contribute to that. But Marshall, I think you're right. I think there's a various host of factors that can come into play with that.
And Marshall, real quick, I've talked to Mark Bailey about this before. Like why would I get these type of results? And like he would almost want to pinpoint to the time of year. If people have success normally that time of year, but sometimes females don't do good on certain time of the year when it comes to laying clutches versus like in the winter or earlier part. Anecdotal, really. How the hell do we really know?
Yeah, I mean, if you'll remember last year at this time, I had 2, and at the time the clutches looked great. They were all fertile, and this was a first time female, and I'd been trying to pair her since towards the end of the summer, and soon as I put the male in there with it the first time, she went off feeds, turned blue. So she was showing all the signs, but who knows, man?
Yeah, who fucking knows? And you know what? Why don't we end this whole let's end this whole how's everyone doing type topic to like what happened to me and my Arubiak right here. I mean, hey, she's alive.
Oh yeah,
right, dude. First and foremost, I'm like talking to Bill maybe every day after day 47. Like, hey, Bill, what do you think? And here we are. I think I got to day 53, I believe, which I can't remember. And then I'm like, she looks like she's like just still beehived, but she's not on anything. So I'm checking. I'm like, she hasn't laid yet. And this is probably about 5 days after Christmas is when I'm checking on her. And I think I talked to you the day before Bill, about soaking her.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, she looks so ready. I think I'm going to give it one more day. Remember I told you that? I was like, she just looks like she's so tight and ready. So I'm going to leave it. Then the next day comes, no eggs. I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to have to soak her. I pull her out. I look under, and I just see a shit ton of little ugly fucking slugs, dude, that are basically smushed at this point. So I'm thinking, this fucking heifer's been sitting on these things for a minute now. You know what I mean? Like these probably came out a long time ago, and I just didn't see them because they weren't a lot. There was 11 of them, and they were like the little puny yellow ones. Like they weren't big. It was really just a bad overall, like typical fucking slugged out clutch.
Did you see many locks with this pairing?
Oh yeah, dude, she got blasted for sure. She got hella locks, but again, she's old, dude.
She's old.
She's an old girl. Was only been in my care for about a year. I had no expectations really with this girl. It was just cool to see an ovulation, and but for me, this time of year never works out, dude. This is my 3rd time in a row a clutch just didn't work out for me in the fall/winter. So again, I don't know what that could lead to.
I can't remember. Did she have a nice ovulation? Did you witness a nice big swelling?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was big. That's why I kind of felt good. Cause I was like, that's a that's, you know, I like to see that, you know, it was a good sized ovulation. She blew up. Yeah. Actually, to be honest, I posted a video. It wasn't as big. Like we all know these ovulations have levels to them. Like there's some ones where it's like they swallowed a fucking house. Then there's ones that are pretty subtle. I would say she was pretty much in the middle. But for her being a big snake, she probably could have had a bigger ovulation. But then again, I've had this happen before where I've had huge ovulations and slugged out clutches. And dude, my time of year around that fall that's one of my rooms the hottest. But again, even though there's no panels, so there's really nothing, I guess, that could lead to like having it too hot in my room, or maybe it could be, but my room doesn't get more than 85. You know what I mean? During the summer, hottest time of the day. So I don't know, dude. Either way, just chalk it up to who knows.
Yeah, I think that's an age issue. I mean, you know, it's easy to.
You know what her breeding history is? If she had clutches before.
Yeah. So Chad sent me 2 girls, her sister, and apparently both of their clutches have never been fertile. And I don't know how accurate that is, because I've seen pictures of really nice looking eggs. They just go to shit like weeks or so after they're incubating. And so
what's the lineage of the snake?
Arby from Bushmaster. He told me 2017. I'm like, no, dude, these are like 2007. The way that, you know how the color changes on a mature female, like, you know, these girls were no way 2017, not even, there's no way in hell. And so he also told me they were red neos, and I'm like, scratching my head. I'm like, dude, these eyes are silver as shit. Like, I never seen a red neo with silver eyes before, and it's an Arboreals, so it could be a red neo, but I don't know, man. Another reason why I was like looking forward to getting eggs to see if they could go the distance, to see what she would produce. If I saw a bunch of yellows, there's my answer. But you know, I don't know. Time will tell. I'm gonna give her a good year off if she lives, and just feed her good. She's a big snake, dude. So I don't know. We'll see day by day.
Is she back? Is she back? Recovered on food and all that?
The thing is, she doesn't look like she even laid. She's fucking still big. She's eating, and that's the best thing I guess I could ask for, right? You know, it could have been way worse, but
yeah.
Well, now you get to take care of her for another year, feed her, house her, you know, pay for all of her upkeep, and then see what happens. I'm not optimistic, bro.
That's kind of what it goes down to, man. But listen, the return of John Irby. I'm so excited to have John back on. He's obviously been doing some big things since he's been on. He just had a basin ovulation, which, you know, we always have John on the show talking chondros, because that's what he's known for. But finally, he got that ovulation from a basin. So, and then he also sent me other stuff that he has cooking. And yeah, we have quite to talk about tonight, gentlemen. I hope you guys are excited.
Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait.
You guys ready or what?
Yeah, let's bring it.
All right, man. Shout out to everyone in the chats. Smash that like button. Do what you got to do to get your mind right, and do what you got to do to stay hydrated, because this is episode 724. The return. John Irby, Mid-Atlantic Arboreal, coming at you right now. Let's go.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it.
And we are live, episode 724. John, welcome back, buddy.
Hey, man. How y'all doing?
Hey, John.
Dude, so cool. He don't even need to do sound check. That's John Irby for you. Like, I don't know what you and Marshall, man. Fuck, dude.
We've established this connection before, so
John's the anti-Marshall.
the anti-Marshall.
Anti-Marshall. What do you mean?
Well, technical difficulties, yes, you're right.
You come on every week and your sound check is shit. And John comes on just nonchalantly, once a year and
Folks it.
Play up.
I mean, it was a coin toss too. I was like, am I going with the cell phone or we're going to try the laptop? And so I'm on the laptop.
Laptop. No earbuds or earbuds?
No earbuds.
Fuck yeah, dude. Raw dog. That's what I'm talking about. Fuck those earbuds, bro. Hey, no, John, seriously, good to have you back, dude. We've been talking briefly. Lots to talk about tonight. I don't know where you want to start, really, but I got to say, it's cool that we are going to be talking about you having an emerald tree boa ovulation based in the world, man.
Yeah,
That's so new. That's so new for you to talk about. So why don't we talk about like what went into that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure, man. So I've got a pair of basins. It's a one pair, which is, I don't advise that. And I've really learned along the way that, it might sound crazy to buy like 4 of something or things like that. And for someone that's starting out, they might be like, damn, that's nuts. But that's actually a much more sure way towards success. And even mild success or a small success could certainly recoup all that you would have in like 4 or 5 animals. Right. But anyway, I don't want people to believe that this is like the norm to buy a single pair. Man, basins, you just got to raise them for so long, And so anyway, but I got a single pair, kept them glued together and got them to breed. My male actually, like think about it, if my male had turned out to be a crappy breeder, but this male is a rock star, man, and he got in there and got it done finally for me.
Where'd you get the pair, John?
Ed Marino.
Yeah, looks very Ed-like.
I mean,
they're really cool. The male is real snowflakey in his appearance, but he's a sibling to Ed's male that he calls Alien. He's had a bunch since then. I don't know what he calls them, like Alien 2 and whatever. But his original Alien, he's proved out the pattern, the Alien pattern. But anyway, there's an OG Alien, and this one is a sibling to that. The male is, and then he also, like the year before, had a litter, and it had this one animal in it called Christmas, and that was Ed's, like at least at that point, the highest white female that he'd ever produced, and my female's a sibling to that. So I joke around and say that like these will be kind of poor man alien Christmas babies, because of course Ed's going to make alien Christmas babies. You know what I'm saying? And and so these are kind of like knockoffs.
Yeah, we talked about it, John. It's like, dude, okay, I mean, the reason why they're knockoffs is because you think about the generations behind this type of project that Ed's been working on, and so. Like, you can't speed up this game. It's like you said, like you legit have to wait and raise them.
Oh,
and
my God.
The less you have to raise, the less chance you have of making anything fucking remotely sick. And I don't want to be a damper. Marshall, correct me if I'm wrong if you've heard this before. Yeah. But the odds of hitting, like, let's say you had a really ridiculous pair of basins, right? Like, let's say you had like a Christmas looking snake and that alien snake. Like, they're all not all going to come out bangers. Like, they're all not going to come out like Christmas looking. Like, some will. There's like I think didn't Rico say the ratio? It wasn't it like, or it would have been Ed Marino. He said 10% will be fucking knockouts, 20% will be like better than the parents. Then the other 20% would be like exactly like the parents, and the other 10% or something. My number's probably off, for like going to be like super.
And it takes a second for them to kind of color up and really show.
Yeah, for sure.
Gain that white. There's a rev up. They rev up the white a little bit at the beginning. So a lot of people are like, "Well, what are you going to do with them if you're lucky?" And I was like, "I'm going to just
keep them,
soak on them for a while, man, and really try to sort out a couple of like really outstanding animals." I'm hoping that I get an animal as nice, or like maybe an upgrade beyond my stuff. Maybe I can hit that just genetic magic and get a freak out of the deal. That's
So basically they're like designer chondros. If they're
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
you know how these things are going to end up looking as adults.
Yeah,
I would
but
say a little more predictable, maybe. Than, than
more
designer
predictable.
chondros.
Mainly because Bill, you could so I saw pictures of somebody who had some Christmas bloodline stuff. John Wing, shout out to John Wing, but he showed pictures of babies that you could tell it had that snowflake patterning that goes all the way up to. And Jed always told me the closest white you could get to the head, the better. And so, you know, like Marshall just said, emeralds after a while, after geeking out and also having your litters, you could kind of tell which neos you're not going to let go of for sure versus like the ones that will surprise you, because some. Because no matter what, the white does get bolder on the snake regardless, right? But there's levels to the bolding. Thanks, babe. Some boldings get like, hey, be careful, right, Bill? Don't spill it.
Whoa, that's a big coffee, MJ. Be careful.
No, but like, you know, for instance, like you could kind of tell though, right, Marshall? Like you've seen patterning on an emerald that looked pretty promising straight out of the snake, right? That kind of turned out to be what the way you thought it would be.
Yeah, the few clutches that I've had, I've when I give them their ID numbers, I number them from 1 to whatever the clutch was, and 1 being the one I think is the least attractive, and 10 or 12 being the one that I think is the best. And both clutches, I've had the best animal. I was able to pick it, but down in like the middle of the pack, I've had a few that switch places, or number 4 really should have been number 7. You can tell.
John, you do that with chondros, right? Too, when you're like,
yeah, we're talking chondro babies, yeah, for sure. I definitely have had some, not so much in like the super freak type pairings, but I've had some pairings where I was pairing kind of middle of the road, like nice, but not those freak blues. And like my Blue Deuce Little Stevie to Sophie clutch, for example, they came out really looking kind of like a range of like Wamina babies, you know what I mean? Because they just weren't like that 10 generations of compounded designer blood. So there weren't any like super freak black ones in there. So, I picked out a couple and they came out nice, but there was some lower, like basically the last pick was super sweet. Like the very last pick turned out to be one of the bluest ones in the clutch. And I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I love to hear that.
Yeah.
John,
but
how old
the guy's nice and he
animals?
pressed pictures of it and it's cool.
Say it again, Marshall.
How old was the pair? Or how old is the pair?
Old enough to party for sure.
How old is the Basins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The girl is a 2018 and the female's a 2019.
Oh wow. So they're up there. Yeah.
Perfect. And
I tried them last year. So my female, if you look there, she's got some kinks in her tail.
Yeah.
And that's not a great photo of it, but there's a kink like right at the vent. And because of that, it's almost like it's a little inverted right there. And if I get her really, really heavily packed full of food and she gets kind of full-tailed right there, it's quite the step, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my male, and I joke around. So the female, I call her, and I'm like, getting known for my crazy ass names, but I call her Miss Uzi Butt because she is always, you know what I'm saying? Like if you keep her packed full of food, she's just kind of always about ready to pop down there. Anyway, then my male, the first year he tried to breed her, and like I said, he's a champ, dude. He's in there just going and trying and trying. And then one morning I found him and one of his hemipenes was prolapsed and and had gotten swollen and the valve or the trap door had shut and he was having a hard time getting it back in. And I was like, oh shit. So luckily I'm like 2 and some change hours from Scott Stahl's office in like the Northern Virginia area. And I called them and I rolled up there and I tried my best to get it back in, but you know what I mean? It's like purple and fleshy and all. I'm like, oh my God, my high end basin. And this is like what Ed told me. Ed was like, you're rolling the dice, only getting one male. But anyway. So anyway, they got it back in and and it was I guess borderline and not like it hadn't gone necrotic or whatever. It's kind of like you had something on your finger and it's purple, but we got to it in time.
Wow.
And so anyway, I joke around and call him Scarcock.
Scarcock.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it sounds like Chuck's daughter's naming your emeralds.
Chuck, who?
Chuck Amicone. He's got some crazy, like, he lets his daughter's name is Chondros.
Okay.
His daughter's name is Chondros. So there's some pretty unique names.
So wait,
Yeah, so I call him Scarcock.
the pairing was Scarcock and
Miss Uzi Butt.
and Uzi Butt. Damn, bro.
Yeah, we might call her Miss Uzi Ass or whatever you want to call her.
But also, okay, which also is very interesting is because of
But then I had to strategize around that. There's still a lot of learning there that can be had.
Yeah.
I had to really strategize to get this female bred this year.
I was gonna say, because you don't feed her heavy, you don't feed her like typical emerald breeders feed because they can handle it. We all know that, and like I said, I feel like the only reason why I got success is because Warren Booth and Keith McPeak's advice as far as when to hit them with hard food like is the trick. But in this case, you just fed her like not minimal, but like smaller.
So right? I had to feed her and whatever, dude. It's been quite the challenge. Like, so this girl gets a lot of time in the shower and lots of coaxing her to just keep that tail cleaned out as much as she possibly can. So for one, I got to really manage her like that. And dude, there's been times where there's this stuff called micropore tape, and I've actually bound her tail and given her some support. It's like, there's like a valve or like a sphincter at her cloaca or whatever. And so when that would get a lot of pressure on it, and emeralds take really big defecations, it would just kind of I don't mean to be graphic, but just kind of blow her out a little bit. And so I would give her time in the shower and get her all cleaned out. And then basically almost like an ace bandage, support her tail. And all of that really, really helped. And then there was a period in there where I fasted her. And how long was leading up to the breeding season? And all of this helped all that muscle do a lot of miraculous healing and get into a better place. And my plan was man, I'm going to clean her completely out all the way. And then while her tail is nice and slender, I'm going to put the male in and let him get some successful copulations, because then the sperm is inside her. And I just know from chondro breeding and other snake breeding that snakes can get bred, and then a whole lot of the activity can happen months later, but the sperm was in there, right? And so I did that, and I got some locks on her, and then I would feed her again. You know what I mean? And kind of feed her, and then maybe not push it, but so much, and get the defecation. And I just danced it a little bit right there, but it was letting her get completely cleaned out that I got the locks with her. And then I just was able to, and in fact got such an improvement in her condition of her tail that then the male really just kept, I just got a nice breeding season out of her because of that. He bred her a bunch, and she swelled up like normal. And
you think there's a risk when she is getting ready to deliver her babies because of that tail kink or not?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I guess. Now, luckily, I don't think, she doesn't, I don't know. I mean, Marshall maybe has seen a lot more basins. I mean, I think if the little the sacs with the eggs in them, if they rupture and they were to come out as neonates, I think they're going to be fine. I don't know if they, when a chondro lays an egg, Marshall, there's a lot of stretching that's going on. I don't know if it's like that.
Yeah. It's hard to tell from that last picture how bad the kink. So the kink is above the vent, like towards the head.
It's just kind of right on it.
Right on it. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. I would think that it would be harder to pass an egg than a live baby. So who knows? But I was going to say, I have lost a female to the Uzi butt condition that you're talking about. What ended up happening with my female was that beautiful snake too. I never got a chance to breed her. She was just coming to breeding age, but her cloaca would always be I mean, it was almost like it was puffy, or it was almost like a tiny, not going to say a prolapse, but like just you could always see the flesh color just a little bit. And towards the end, before it got real bad, she would be like, you could just tell that she was constantly leaking all over the cage. Like if after a meal, there'd always be little drops coming out or whatever. And what ended up happening is that little end piece ended up going necrotic, and then it spread, and then all of a sudden, like I ended up just putting her down because. I mean, she was at that point. There was no, it was like the whole end of the cloaca where the sphincter is, like you're talking about. That had all pretty much like
dried up and rotted,
necrosis and rotted away. Yeah,
I've been really having to. I've been thinking that's why I've done things like put that tape on there just to close it and give it. Like I would get the defecation and be like, all right, well, we all know emeralds don't need to do much for a while now. And I would just give her like a week or two with that, just some support, you know what I mean? And anyway, because I just was like, man, all right, it's exactly like you were describing, especially if I were to start really putting the meals to her, she would just get real leaky. And I was like, man, if I don't manage this, she's going to get an infection in there. And so I really just, I know it's a rolling of the dice, but, she's a special case. And so,
yeah.
And she's she's smaller than most people would keep an emerald, and probably needed that extra trip around the sun just to gradually get that weight on her. And this litter, if she has it, will probably zap her down hard, and it would probably take a really long time to get her back to weight. I won't be able to just go to hitting it to her, that's for sure.
Yeah.
She'll probably need like 3. She's a snake that a patient keeper probably can get it done. But if you were to get heavy on her, you could kill her in a year. Or I could wait 3 years after this litter and maybe sneak another one out of her. She's kind of one of them snakes.
Yeah, you wonder what causes it, because I've found with, now I'm raising, I think I've got 4 females from my 2021 litter that I've been raising up. And, I used to get more infrequent defecations out of them because I was always erring on the small side. But what I found is that, man, I give them like small to medium rats now every 2 weeks, and they pretty much poop almost between every meal. So
your basins?
So I don't know if it's like a food related thing, like who knows why that happens, but it's happened. Sounds like it's happened once to me and once to you with this snake too.
I'm hopeful I get a litter just simply so I can have a little larger sample size to raise. I just like to screw around with 5 or 6 of them,
Yeah.
And also what's going to be interesting is like, not only the recovery of this snake, if she can go the distance. Because remember I told you, John, like, see if she's hungry and like after a good month or so after ovulation, like a snake like this, if she will eat, would probably be wise to get a meal in this snake if she was willing to take it, because not all of them will take. Marshall, I can't remember if a snake ate after ovulation for you, not an emerald. Were you one of the ones who said that they eat, or they've never eaten for you?
I've never had an emerald eat. Amazons do it all the time, but emeralds, I don't recall ever having one do it.
I know Ed has said he has, but it says not all of them. But if they can, it doesn't hurt to. And then also Coach Rice with the Northerns has had his females eat. But again, like, I'm curious how the babies are going to look like. I mean, it's like, man, there's a lot of wild cards in this factor for you right now, John.
Yeah. If she doesn't eat anything, I've been thinking, I'm like, this is going to be the best thing ever for her tail, though. Like once she finally defecates and she gets to go whatever it is, like 5 months without a meal. She'll be a skeleton, but she may get a lot of progress as far as getting that tail to heal up some.
Are you one to document their shits and stuff, their sheds? Do you document all that?
With her, I don't document anything's defecation, and she's the only one I do, just because of all of this. I just try to keep up with how many meals are in her and if she's pooped in a while.
Emeralds will do that, dude. You literally have a room full of snakes, and the only ones that you're really counting the shits on are the emeralds. I swear to God.
Yeah, they can really hold out, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, listen. Let's kind of shift things here to the chondros, man, because at this time of year, where are things at? Typically, I know we got some pictures to share, but why don't you catch us up where things are currently at for Mid-Atlantic Arboreals in end of Jan or mid-January?
Yeah, I've got a couple clutches in the incubator. I've got another on the way. I've got a bunch of stuff that has been bred. You kind of get to this place where they've locked up, and but the activity is slowed, but one's a male is locked one that's like, that's it, and I've had plenty of those rev up and get going. And so I've got some that are kind of just waiting to see what comes from them. But I think I shared most everything I got going on with you. So yeah, this is a set of 9 eggs. This is unfortunate. The female, when I was listening to you earlier during the intro period or whatever, you were talking about day 47. What was that about?
That was the day after ovulation. So so I was counting that was the day I was counting ovulation, because all my snakes usually lay about day 42 to 47, 48. I've never gone to the 50s. And then I got mid into the 50s, but it turns out she probably laid on day 50 or 49. But
sure. Yeah, so I'm a big believer in tracking things based on the ovulation day. That's one thing I'll say about the basin community is they talk a lot about post-ovulation shed.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's cool to hear you talking about that. And I'll share that my stuff really, really is consistent, and they lay a lot of times on basically day 48 to day 50. Okay. Really consistently. And I really consistently get a day 30 sheds from post-ovulation. But the shed, if anything is going to be variable, it would be the shed. What I try to tell people is the ovulation is where egg and sperm meet. That's the moment of conception, right? That's when the timer starts. The shed is just something that they'd like to get done at some point along the way, but it doesn't communicate or do anything to the egg. It's just skin on the outside of the snake's body where the sperm and the egg meet. That's when the timer starts. And then the timer is sped up or slowed down based on temperatures and the conditions. That's one thing that's interesting about a cold-blooded animal is it's not regulating its own temperatures other than by moving around. And so you have a lot of control there. And so that's why you can really, if you get your temperatures dialed in, you can every time nail these dates. And I really do. But this clutch right here in front of you, I did not. And I looked around, I was like, oh shit. And I hadn't lifted her night drop. And this girl laid on about day 55.
Oh, wow.
Which was crazy. And then what really sucked about it was I was timing it based on my other shit. And I just spaced on it and didn't adjust her thermostat like I normally do. And at that point, I had locked her in the egg box, and now I'm off, and I don't know. I'm like, well, I don't know when she's going to lay. I don't really, Yeah. And so then I'm like, well, I can't put her back in her enclosure and then try to retime it. And so I ended up just having to keep her in the egg box for a lot longer than I would have liked to.
So what happened? You didn't do a night drop, or you did?
I had a female in the egg box for almost a month.
Oh shit!
Did she lay a nice clutch?
She laid on day 61, and she laid a perfect clutch.
This girl laid on day 55, and I think she retained. She also just never settled down. It was the wildest thing I'd ever seen. She just crawled, and she got some rub marks on her face. It was anyway. I learned a lot through that, but anyway, and she retained a couple eggs.
I noticed you're incubating on
Vermerculite
that we're all familiar with, but I want to hear MJ pronounce it.
Dude, that's fucked up, dude.
You've already said it. You just said it wrong. So go ahead, try again.
Vermiculite, dude. Fucking A, dude. Let's all pile up on MJ right now, Bill.
How's that coffee treating you?
Vermic.
There you go. Got it.
First, suck my dick. All right. How about that, fucker? Jesus Christ.
But these are cool eggs, especially Bill will think these are cool. This is So like recently I've been posting a couple of pictures of this. I got a couple of yearlings downstairs. One in particular looks like it's turning blue. It's got a nice blue face on it right now. And it's a maroon Neo. And so that's something I've just posted recently. And in fact, your little, your intro thumbnail has it on there.
This one?
Yeah, right. The one to the right, that one's turning out nice too, but the other one. Yeah, that one.
These aren't the same? Holy shit.
They look very similar.
Dude, that's epic.
Yeah, they're both are turning out. Both are going to be top shelf, I think.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
So those are sired by Air Force One.
Yeah.
And so that's cool. And he's a real potent blue male, like really tightly bred, real potent. So that's kind of cool. But what I was showing you about those eggs was their Air Force One bred to a clutch mate to Showtime and Freight Train.
Oh, very cool.
So it was like, now she's not super, well, actually I've got there's some pictures that I sent to MJ that are,
which one
of her? She's in there somewhere.
What does she look? Which one are we talking about?
There's a picture of her being bred by Air Force One in there.
Is she melanistic at all?
No, she did turn hormonal blue.
Let me see if this is.
But I bred Air Force One to a much less potent female and got those two that are turning pretty nicely blue. It looks like.
Is that not it?
That's my snake Dildo. Actually breeding the mother to that snake with the blue face. So I switched it up. I took Air Force One, who I had bred to that female, and to produce that red Neo with the blue face. And I'm breeding Dildo to her this year. And then I took Air Force One. Now that's Warzone.
God damn it.
And he's with a snake called Blue Chip. That is a sibling to Dildo and Frostbite. The clutch mate, the girl is.
What's Warzone's history?
Huh?
What's Warzone's history?
Velvet Blondie, Calico.
Dude, these are so nasty, bro.
He's sibling to my female Hot Stuff and some others, just really nice. All his siblings are yellow, or like yellow calicos. That's Warzone was not, to anybody out there watching, he was not breeding that girl. He was just, all he'll do is cuddle her. And so anyway, and all these pairings that everybody's like, damn, he should have bred Warzone to him. I tried. I put him with every fucking girl first. He got multiple opportunities, and I ended up having to switch to more reliable males. So. But he cuddled a female this year, so maybe next year will be his year.
So he's just not the best male for you yet as far as breeding?
He just hadn't turned on.
How old is
That's Air Force One breeding the clutch mate to Freight Train and Showtime.
Okay, so this is what we're looking for here.
Yep, and that male bred to a different female produced those blue-faced snakes that I have changing right now. One thing that's interesting about this pairing is that Air Force One was like a crazy black neonate, really incredible. Yeah. And then that girl was a really black neonate as well. So it'll just be interesting to see if it's like a really consistently dark black clutch, or if there'll be some red ones in there or something like that. But
and I'm sorry, John, you have eggs from this pairing right here?
Yeah, I've got 9 eggs from them right now.
Okay, those are the eggs that we were just looking at.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Great. And how far are they along?
A week and a half, something like that.
Oh, pretty fresh. What's up with this pairing right here? This one, it's kind of hard.
You showed it one other time.
This one?
Yeah, but from a different angle.
Yeah, same pairing.
Oh, okay.
Now that's not Air Force One.
Yeah, I know.
That is Frostbite breeding my female Swamp Thing.
Oh wow.
That's her again. That's Air Force One. I'm sorry, shit. That's Frostbite breeding Swamp Thing.
Jesus Christ, dude, this is fucking insane.
And I've got some pictures of. There's a picture. I sent actually a picture of her ovulating. She's ovulated. That's going to be that's my third female that's set to lay, and she just had her pre-lay shed a couple of days ago.
Damn. So you're on fire right now.
Yeah, she's really nice. That's going to be pretty sick.
How many clutches has she laid? Is she a first timer?
This is her first year. That's her ovulating right there.
Nice.
She doesn't look like a very big snake.
She's not. After she shed, she weighed like 650 grams.
Ooh,
she's a little female, but I think that's going to play into her favor. We're just kind of learning a lot about chondros and stuff. And like Christian, her mom was this snake called Lunatic, and really beautiful snake with this bright blue head and all that. And like, she just was this little petite snake. And I remember Christian over the years just being like, she just needs another year. She just needs another year. And, this little girl here was like 700 grams or something like that, and pudgy and like 5 or 6 years old. And I was like, that's just her size, dude.
Boom.
Yeah. And paired her right up, and she just went right through the paces. And it won't be but a 10 or 12 egg clutch or whatever. But I am actually thinking that I've got a higher chance of a nice, pretty little, well-shelled, fertile clutch than trying to push that snake into being twice that size. And you know what I mean?
John, this chondro is so nice. This designer is so nice. Ryan Young's complimenting it. That's wild to me. Okay.
Yeah, Ryan.
Only complimenting her size.
I'm a believer, dude. I'm a believer, not pushing them.
He perfect size, and in his head says, I would want that snake. In his head, he just said that. I know it for a fucking fact. He's not being vocal about it. Is this the same snake right here, John? Because it's really hard to tell with fucking your stuff. But this one right here with the really cool birthmark on it, or
that's her.
Wow, what is that mark right there?
That is like a gnarly, what the people in the designer community would call an ink spot.
Wow, dude.
It's a black hole, bro.
Look how red it. Look at that.
It's the chondro vortex, bro. The calico vortex.
Jeez Louise, dude.
And she's subtle. She's not one of those super freak bright yellow and all of that. But she was that one. I don't know if y'all remember that when I got her, she was like 2 years old and she was brown and black.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
that's her. And you can even see in her black, it's a kind of a brown thing. And so she's a descendant from October. And got a lot of that just brown. And anyway, so it'll be cool. And the male that I bred her to is my male Frostbite, who's produced just incredible shit. So that should be super cool.
Dude, man.
I'm going to have to keep those for everybody watching. I'm just keeping those, for a while.
Yeah, get off his bumper. This is one of your females as well, I'm assuming.
No, that's a male. That's Showtime. That's the clutch. That's a clutch mate to Bill's Freight Train.
Looks a lot like Freight Train.
Dude, wow. So that was a typical Freight Train look right there, Bill, right there. This is what
looks a lot like Freight Train.
Those were the two top males in that clutch, was Freight Train and Showtime. Those were the two nice, super, how clutches will just have like them couple of beauty neos, and that they were beautiful as neos, and they turned out to be the top.
But you produced Freight Train, right, Bill?
John did.
I did.
You did. Oh, so and it was a swap that you guys did, Bill? Or how did you get Freight Train again? What was the
Well, that's an interesting story. John gifted me Freight Train on a moment where he lost his marbles. And basically he just said, I have these two males and I don't need both of them. So he sent me Freight Train. I can't even remember how old he was, John. Was he a year old maybe when you sent him?
Probably about a year old.
Probably about a year old. Funny story about Freight Train. I had Freight Train for probably a year. And then I had to text John. And I said, John, I need to talk to you. Will you call me? Ooh. And he goes, yeah, I can't call you now. I'll call you later tonight or tomorrow or whatever. And I go, so he calls me and I go, well, John, luckily we don't need to have the conversation that I was getting ready to have with you because I had lost Freight Train for a week.
What? You got out?
Got out.
Dude.
Couldn't find him. Couldn't find him anywhere. And so I was getting ready to make the call and say, man, I'm so sorry. I can't believe, this has happened. Because after a week, usually when these things get out, you find them the next day or that day.
Pretty easy to find.
They're easy to find. Well, you guys know that have been in my room. I have this rocking chair in the front room that sits in front of the TV, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sitting in that rocking chair and I got the foot up and I'm just chillaxing out watching TV. And my son-in-law comes in and he goes, is there supposed to be a snake in that chair underneath in the hinges of the chair? I'm like, what? No. And so I jump off.
God, you didn't rock on him like.
Yeah, no shit.
And I'm telling you, he was underneath the chair, curled up in one of the springs of that chair. And I found him. And when John called me, I said, luckily, we don't have to have the conversation I was getting ready to have with you. So I found him, and boy, what a machine. He was too.
I'm sure I expressed to you that it would have been no big deal. I probably would have been like, Bill, if you kill that snake, that is just fine.
I'm so glad I didn't, because he's just a freaking beast.
I remember this guy. I forgot who. I think it was it was Christian. And I don't know, Marshall, if you remember this guy, Paul August, back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Christian like loaned him one of his like old males that he wasn't going to use anymore. And Paul was like, well, I don't know about this, man. I'd feel uncomfortable if this snake died in my care. And he was like, Paul, this snake is going to die in your hands. Like, take him. Like, They're never giving him back is what I'm telling you, Paul.
It's great. I know I've definitely heard that story from you, Bill, but I forgot the whole it being freight train. And yeah, what a story.
It was one of the deals where I was like, look, if I sell freight train, what am I going to do? Somebody's going to give me 1 unit worth of sale, or maybe I could charge a premium for him and call him some breeder male. And I was like, or I could give him to you and let you fuck around with him and breed him into your sickness stuff and see what you can do. And then you can just kick me a neonate every once in a while when you're successul with him.
Smart move.
So it's been a pretty easy going thing. It's worked out.
That's what I've done. I've tried to kick you some stuff from him every year he's produced. So yeah, I just can't thank you enough for that. I thank you. I've overthanked you, or maybe I haven't overthanked you, but if I haven't,
don't worry about it.
I should be.
And this should be a good example where if you're going to do collabs, there should be terms where like no strings attached, like whatever happens.
Gotta be.
Yeah, because
that's what I'm saying. Paul was like, I'm scared of this. And he's like, oh, no, buddy.
John,
this thing's never coming back.
John, over the last 2 years, I've heard situations where people fucking want to blast each other because one's not happy and one can't get the first pick. And it's like, dude, how fucking difficult are you guys making this? Like,
no, when you start loaning adults around and trade, which is fine. I mean, if you want to roll that dice, because there is some cool reward that can come from high risk. But if you take that risk, you can't be. Yeah, be a little bitch about it. You know what I mean? It's
when you ship a snake out on loan, you have to be okay in your head that you just have
never
to
coming back.
That it's never coming back.
Yeah. It's almost like loaning a family member money. Like here's the $1,000.
Just take it.
You never expect to see it back.
It's a good deed.
It's just right. Exactly. It's a good deed.
And in my opinion, if you're going to do a loan, that's kind of I am not kidding. Like they should really just go in one direction and then just stay put. Like you should almost say like, all right, well, this female doesn't have but 2, 3, 4, 5 clutches in her. Maybe you've had a clutch with her or whatever. And you're like, I'm going to transfer her over to a different set of opportunities. And but you can't be playing trading cards here. They don't need to move around a ton.
Yeah. And that's
something like Christians in Maryland. I might say, I'm going to drive you up this female, and she's going to now live with you, and then maybe you can pull off some cool shit that I couldn't do, and then I'll get access to some babies that I wouldn't normally be able to have. And I've got enough females that I'm producing that I may be able to be like, all right, I'll pick out a girl and take him up something. That's the type, and it needs to be someone that you're real good friends with. And you need to kind of have that like one direction.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Stay there. Like these are things that are slowly done. Chondros are a slow game, a slow thing.
I agree. Those kind of situations should almost under all circumstances be one-way trips.
All those box being checked just makes life easy, man. I'm telling you right now. Just and again, do it to somebody you really fuck with. Somebody you don't have to think about trusting. You know what I mean?
I don't even check on him. You know what I mean? It's not like something I'm like, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? I mean, it's like, I understand he's doing everything he can. It's all good. He wants him to breed too. He'll let me know.
So do you have some like behind the scene collaborations out there? I mean, you don't have to discuss with who.
No, not really. I do have a couple of snakes up at Christian's house.
Nice. Badass. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. I've got there's a female Joe girl, and she's a great example. She was like this Wamena Highland snake, and I had produced a clutch with her, and then I just kind of and I got like some Beox and stuff. I bought some Beox from Ryan Burke and raised them up. And I got like 4 at one time. And anyway, and I was like, well, I'll take you one of them. And so I took him, a Biak, and that girl, Joe Girl, and like, you know, he bred Joe Girl to a Velvet 1 year successfully.
Nice. On that topic, real quick, is Christian Stewart still breeding? Because I heard he really wasn't as much, or I'm just curious.
Yeah, I don't think he's not pursuing it as aggressively, but yeah, he's got a nice amount of stuff up there that he's still screwing around with.
How far is he from you, John?
It'd probably take me 3 hours to get there.
3 hours.
3.5 hours, maybe.
You're what state are you in again, John? Remind me.
Virginia.
Virginia. Okay, that's right. Yeah, so you're in that sector. Because you're not far from Ed either, right? You're just like a few hours from Ed.
Same thing. It'd take me like three and some change hours to drive up to Ed.
That whole area has crazy OG breeders and fucking even Aussie Boyds is in that area. Like there's like
the East Coast is the where all the OG chondro guys. I guess maybe Florida too, but the East Coast, Maryland, and
really got off to the National Zoo. You know, with Trooper being at the National Zoo and being such an influence. Yeah. And Trooper working at the National Zoo lives in Northern Virginia. And then, you know, just people crossed paths with him and he got him off on the right foot. And that's, you know, then he met Tim Morris. Tim Morris, I think, met Trooper just going to the zoo. Yeah. And like hooked up with Trooper and then they became buds and
rest is history.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that being said, you know, we're talking about, you know, ovulations, clutches in the incubator. Is there a time of the year where nothing's breeding? Like you have a shutoff time, correct? Or no?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much now people were like, I've had people reach out to me and was like, how did your breeding season go? And it'll be like, they'll ask this question in December. I'm like, well, it's still going. I'm like,
a minute
started.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in the middle of winter, man. I'm gonna pair all the way until, you know, cause I just am catching them on a different spectrum. I would imagine you could probably build that out if you had an ultrasound and we're doing it. You know, you could find out when all your stuff was going, but I'm just kind of probing around with my males, trying different things. And, oh man, I've definitely landed clutches, you know, putting some stuff together in like July and August and catch some early stuff. And then certainly I get a nice band of well, you almost like, that's kind of what you see. You're like, okay, it's all on. Everything's kind of going good at one time. But I've caught tons of spring pairings too.
Right. And with that being said, you know, you can completely control the temperatures in your room, right? Like you're not really ambient as far as like what is happening in your weather during the summertime. Like it's still the same temperature all year round. That's how you run it.
I mean, I do get weather influence. I'm trying to roll. I have to let the weather do what it's doing. You know, my room is easier to cool in the wintertime for sure. And it kind of goes through a little, and I'm thinking about trying some different things. Because I've really tried to get to where I'm a panel off at night person.
Yeah.
And you know, Bill has spoken about that. Like, so, and I listen to stuff and I'm like, that just to me makes sense. Like instead of like just the room being the right temperature and not this like little tiny point source of heat trickling out a little bit of heat. So I'd like it to just go panel off at night all year round. Yeah. But because they're in my residence, in the wintertime, in the summertime, my air conditioning for my home is running more. And then my snakes are in the basement. And so, you know how people with a basement can have a nice chilly basement in the summertime.
Yeah.
You know, you come in and the AC is running and that's the coolest room of the house. Well, that's why I get shit that seems, I'm like, damn, all this shit seems like it's revving up and getting ready to roll a little early. So I'll start pairing in July and August sometimes. I'm thinking about actually running room heat in my room in the summertime just to kind of counter that a little bit.
Balance it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Bill?
You know, I was just going to say with all of these smart technology, you know, I've got smart room heaters that like if I have like one, you know, I've got 4 rooms in my facility. We'll have one room that tends to be like the baby room, tends to be too cold, you know. So I will run just a little. And it's so awesome because it's you know, it's thermostat controlled. I've got it on my phone. I can dial in the temp at night, it goes off it's on during the day, off at night, or vice versa, or whatever. It's just so easy to run those things. And you can really have a microclimate in a small room. It's just really, really convenient.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. And so, with that being said, Bill, how what's that room you're trying to keep it at when it comes to the babies? What are you aiming for?
Well, the room that the babies are in, I try to keep a little bit warmer.
Right.
They obviously don't need to be cycled during the winter. They don't need temp drops to 70 degrees.
Right.
So, I'll just run that little room heater in there and just keep those nighttime temps up a little bit. And then I can drop the rest of the facility down to whatever temp I want.
But what is that temp? Is what I meant? Like what's the range you like to stay in with the babies?
Well, with the babies, I like to keep basically 75 degrees.
No colder than that.
Around, even when I'm dropping temps in the main room and in the other two rooms.
Yeah, 75 is like my desired room temp, my summertime room temp.
Oh wow, that's low. Not low. I mean, to me it is. I'm not saying that's like ideally.
That's where I keep mine. I mean, during the day, 75 degrees.
And then in the summertime when things really have, you get like heat momentum. You know what I mean? The heat's just building up, and it kind of will rise past the desired state. I get up in like the 77, 78 range, but there might be a little ebb and flow there. But 75 is my target. You know what I mean?
Mine too. And I tell you what, it's really nice to work in a 75-degree room versus an 80-degree room.
Yes, that's right. So there you go. In my early days, like I was kind of like, well, I just want to, but now I know, I wanted to keep it like keeper friendly in there.
Yeah.
My room's not keeper friendly. I sweat like a fucking dog in here.
Yeah,
like
it's no fun.
So does Alex.
I feel like animals love it.
Now, Marshall, do you do the full warm room, ambient, everything?
Yeah. I mean, that I have individual heat in every cage, but I do in the summertime. I try to keep it ambient, even in the winter. The wintertime, like right now, we're getting down into the 20s at night. So, this time of year, it's hard to get the room to 80 during the day. And I'll drop it to 74, 73 at night. But in the summertime, it's 78 at night and 82, 83 during the day. And it's heated to be that warm.
Shit, my room gets like that.
But it's no fun working in there.
My room gets like that now in San Diego. Like my room, if I don't do shit and just leave it alone, my room will get to 84, 85 currently right now with the weather. It's crazy. Wow. I just think it's really hot right now.
John and I have talked about this before. You have your room temperature. I have so much heat in my facility with my ball python racks, and I mean, even in the winter, it's like I rarely turn the freaking heat on.
Yeah, I'm going to have to use the heat in the summertime to control my nighttime low. Like, I'm not running the heat right now at all in the wintertime. They're rising and falling on just about. I'm in a basement too, and so I'm really thermally stable. Like, it takes some good cold days to really bang down that temperature and really thump it down and get it to get the drops that I need. And so right now it's kind of runs itself. I really don't use room heat, but I'm thinking, since moving to this place, my room heat has just sat unplugged, and I'm thinking about throwing it on a thermostat to oddly run it in the summertime at night, just to counterbalance my AC.
You have a recently new room, right? I mean,
like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, because you built.
I'm getting dialed. Like my stuff's starting to breed again. After the move, I'm getting good clutches again.
Yeah.
Why did you hit a little? Did you?
Clutches, but I'm able to go hard now, and I'm more fearlessly pairing up stuff.
Did you face some obstacles a couple years in that new room? The first couple years, or was it pretty just smooth?
No, not really. Maybe I shouldn't make as much out of that, but I got a bunch of mature girls now. Things seem to be clicking.
Yeah.
I've kind of mastered my temps in there, and kind of like, had to give up ground in some places as far as the way I want, you know what I mean? And like, how do I overcome this challenge here? And I feel like I'm running the room real stably now.
John, remind me and to our viewers, your humidity control.
Oh yeah, you talking about smart stuff. This one is not smart. It has smart capability, but I've actually changed. And I'd hate to say this because I can't think of the guy's name, but he's a super nice guy, and y'all know him probably from ball pythons. He owns the business Chimera.
Oh yeah, Andre.
Oh, yeah.
Andre, that's right.
Yeah. Good guy.
Andre lives in Roanoke, Virginia, and he came to get a snake from me recently for another friend of ours. and for Andrew Marshall, and so he came over to pick up something for Andrew. And,
wait, Andre and Andrew are friends?
I think so. Well, obviously, yes.
Yeah. Whoa, I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean that. Go ahead.
So anyway, yeah. So while he was there, I was showing him my humidifier, which is just a big humidifier, and I mounted a float valve in it. Like a valve that you see in the back. It's a miniature one, and that's awesome. And I put it on an RO filter, a reverse osmosis filter, and so it just runs and runs and runs and refills itself, and it's awesome. But anyway, Andre, while he was there, he showed me this wall-mounted one. I guess they use it in greenhouse situations. And anyway, he gave me a link to it. It's called Horticat. And I haven't installed it yet, but it's wall-mounted and direct plumb. And I guess I don't know why that's psychological. I'm not relying on a mechanical little float valve, but I guess that thing has to have some kind of cutoff valve in it. Like it has to be able to turn the water on and off.
Is this it right here? Are these? They look like this right here?
Yeah. Did you just type in the word Horticat?
No, I just typed in wall-mounted humidifier, and these.
But yes, that kind of like what it looks like. Why don't you type in wall-mounted humidifier Horticat? HORTICAT. HORTICAT.
John, you're the person that gave me the idea of hardwiring an RO filter into my humidifier. It's the best thing I've ever done. It's on a float valve system, just like you described, with the RO unit. It comes on at night, 80% humidity, in those back rooms at night.
There you go.
Unbelievable. Yeah. It's RO water, no condensate, none of that white flaky shit.
No descaling it.
Nice.
Bro,
I'm stepping up to that one. I mean, it's like a $380 unit. It's wall mounted. I like the idea of that. It gets it out of the floor.
Fuck yeah, dude. Okay, I'm curious how often do you have to change these filters?
Dude, basically, you run that. Now, this is not the total. This is something that was easy to do for me because I already had an RO filter. But no, you need an RO filter to go with this, which is the multi-canister thing, and it strips it down to like almost zero total dissolved solids, 0 parts per million total dissolved solids.
So there's no filter on this thing. It's all because you're using really good water. So you don't. That's the filter is the RO system is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically you're giving it almost basically distilled water.
Yeah. I've got the same thing. Mine's an industrial humidifier. It doesn't even have a filter.
But yours is like the one that sits on the ground and moves, like it spins, right, Bill? It's like a fan, or what's the one that you use?
It can spin. I just have a direct, like triangular flow that comes out of it. But yeah, it's great because it has no filters. I used to change filters freaking every 2 weeks. They get nasty and filled.
Suck. I mean, I listen. I love my air care humidifiers. They're great, but the whole fucking look at that filter. I got to change it. Like,
does your snake room have either a sink in it or on an outside, right on the other side of the wall?
I got on this wall. I have my water lines. I see my water lines on this
You're
side.
There, bro. I'll walk you through it.
Okay. Damn, I'm excited. I think we did this last time.
They even make like a little tap valve. You would just tap on right onto your line and you just screw it. I mean, we're not talking about complex.
Yeah,
tapping into that line. And then
mine comes right out of a little hole in the sink, and it's just plumbed right into the water line of a little sink that I have in that back room. And it's just totally easy. I'm such a believer in use products that keep your workload efficient, and buy once, cry once. You pay a few $100, $400 for it,
and then you're not like running that thing dry and finding the room dry. It's just like you set it. You want it 65, boom, and it just holds it.
What the fuck? That's what I need. See, I can't miss a beat in here. Like like what happened to me earlier was took my dad to the World Series game, and I was gone for almost 2 days. It was a long time, and I forgot to fill my shit before I left, and my room was fucking in the 20%. Like it was nut dry for almost a whole day and a half. And so and that's
one of the very best upgrades I've made. You will even, it's almost like inconsistent humidity might actually be bad for snakes. You know what I mean? Like if they were to get like dry and then it's like humid.
Yeah, it's not good. They get sick like that.
But when you get them on whatever, you pick a number and you like it and it feels good in the room and they regulate to that. And my snakes just look hydrated. You know, they don't get the creasiness and they just are happy and hydrated, man.
It's cut way down on my spraying wetting the substrate and all that kind of shit. I mean, it just takes all of that out of the equation.
Yeah.
Does the RO filter dump directly into the reservoir for the humidifier, or do you have like a holding tank?
No, the RO filter hooks up into a holding tank, at least in my system. And the holding tank has a float valve, and so it cuts off, when the tank is full. And then my humidifier also has a float valve, and it cuts off when the humidifier is full. I mean, it's pretty easy.
So you got two float valves. You got one that keeps the reservoir from the RO filter full, and the other one that turns on and pulls water from there.
These RO filters come with these little reservoir tanks.
Yeah.
Okay. And they can, and that's for drinking water. And it like lives. Is that what you're talking about, Bill? It like lives under the sink?
Yeah, but I have I don't know, maybe it's a 25-gallon trash can.
Oh, do you?
It's set up as so the RO water comes into that trash can. The trash can's full, and that's what the humidifier is linked to.
So we're talking about something like this.
Yep.
Is this a tank that you're talking about, Bill? How big is this? A big ass tank that you have? Don't you have a tank like this? Isn't it big?
My tank's bigger than that. It's not even a tank. It's literally a trash can.
So Bill doesn't. So this would go under your sink for like a drinking water system, and inside that tank is a bladder, like a whoopee cushion. Think about that.
Yeah.
And as the water goes in there, it compresses that bladder. It's got like enough equilibrium that the pressure of the RO can fill the tank up. But then on the top of your countertop, where there's a little valve, you've got like your little drinking water thing. You can open that up, and that bladder has got enough pressure so that you don't have to get, because the RO membrane only allows like 50 gallons per day out or something like that, some really slow trickle. And so on these drinking water systems, they've got this tank that lives under your sink that gives you a little access to a few gallons of water that are already filtered and prepped and ready to roll. And that's what mine's running on, is under the sink. I've got that little tank, and then that goes to my humidifier. But what Bill's got is he's got his RO filter just trickle feeding into a trash can and using that as his reservoir with a float valve on it.
Yeah.
And he's going from there to his humidifier.
And my humidifier is really just run by gravity. It's just gravity
fed
from the trash can, into the humidifier. It sounds complicated. It's not. Once you get it set up, it makes your life so much easier.
I'd rather say the word vermiculite.
Do RO filters still have a wastewater line?
They do.
That comes through.
Yeah, you got to have a
wastewater. So you just dump that into the sink.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And so in the drinking water setup, like it's got the little tank under the sink, and on your supply line, you put a T, and that goes to that feeds the system, the supply, and then there's a little line that comes out. That's your desirable water that you want, and there's another line, and you tap into the
drain.
Into the drain. There's a little what they call a little saddle tap, and it just grabs onto the drain. And you put it like right after the little trap, the little swan neck, and it just goes out.
Yeah,
it's a system that is very, very good, but it's not without fraught. And I'm saying that because if one of those valves gets stuck in the on position,
it's not good.
It happened to me once. You wake up with a flooded floor.
Yeah.
I'm not down for that. I'm good on floods. Floods are terrible.
It's your garage, MJ. It's not going to hurt anything.
The wall-mounted one, which is just I'm going to direct plumb into it, and I'm not using. It's just like. Water line.
You just call my reptile room a garage, bro? Okay, I fucking dumped.
I'm just saying, it's not like there's carpet or shit in there.
You can't put a car in here, and there's nice flooring in here. What, dude? Have you not been in my room, Marshall? Bro, I have housing. I have wood floor. It's not real wood, but you know what I'm saying, bro? Like, don't ever disrespect my room like that again. Call it a garage. You can't park in here, pal. This guy, dude, John, don't let him act like I don't have a sick ass reptile room. I do, and I want you to come visit.
Luckily, Luckily, I don't have expensive hardwood floors
Yeah.
in my garage that I don't have to worry about getting fucking flooded.
Wait, what floor do? Wait, hold on. I'm trying to think of the floor you have, Bill. It's not ghetto. I'll tell you that much.
Well, it's only concrete with a little. I don't even know what it's called.
Epoxy or like there or the that
Epoxy. It's epoxy. I've got
oh yeah, there you go. Okay. Hey, you know what's crazy? I have to upgrade these floors are fucked up. Because I remember I had a flood here 2 years ago. And I what's it? I can't remember the name of this type of wood flooring. I think it's not vinyl.
LVT.
Okay.
Vinyl.
So basically, man, yeah, there's shit needs to happen in here where I have to get these floors redone. But I'm not going to just go to the fucking garage floor. Okay, Marshall? I'll figure it out.
So my room is, I'm just concrete.
No, yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I could just, the idea of never having to fill my humidifier tanks sound pretty fucking next level dreamy to me. I'm not going to lie. And then the filters, if I could ditch the filters too.
Not only that, no filters. Don't have to fill it. Just plug in, forget it.
The RO would cost you about like $250.
Once a year I clean that humidifier. Once a year.
That RO filter would cost you like $200, $250, and then getting that wall-mounted one, which would eliminate the mechanical float valves. That's why I'm doing it. My friend Brian Fisher was like, I just could never live with the float valve. I would be scared. And then I was like, all right, fine. So anyway. So, dude, you're talking about like $600, man, and you can be in the steady humidity year-round, never touch a thing ever again.
I have three air cares in here, okay, and I spent $140 on each air care already, and then the filters I have to replace. I have to get more filters like every 2 months, and those are $50. I get $50 for like 2 filters or something. It's fucking. It's already expensive. What I'm already doing doesn't even make sense. But what I'm doing has helped and it's worked. It's just very maintenance consuming. It's like I have to fucking always be on top of it. But to have it on my wall, set it and forget it, dude. I need to look into that. It's happening. I'm that kind of keeper. I'm bougie like that. I need that in my life. I really do.
Do you guys find any
so happy you did it.
Keeping your room so humid? Do you ever see mold on drywall or on anything?
Now, well, Bill said 80%. I go for in the wintertime, I don't push it because it's just battling against the cold so much. Yeah. I just shoot for 65.
Ooh, that's
and then normally in the summertime, it just runs so much less because my room kind of gets there on its own. So I'm not pumping. It does its thing and keeps it day and night, as the temperature cools and it needs less humidity or less added moisture to maintain the same relative humidity. Like it's adjusting and, doing its thing and year round from season to season, from day to night, from the high to the low temp.
But Marshall, to answer your question, the 80% humidity, I would never run that 24/7. It runs at night. It runs 8 hours a night. At nighttime, I'm not in there. So I run 80% humidity at night, but then during the day, it drops down to these Texas winters, freaking 30% humidity during the day.
Yeah. Right now, my room, looking at it, is 40% basically. So I have no humidifier though. So all my humidity comes from the cages, from spraying the cages.
If I had no humidifiers, my shit would be like 10-15%. It would be terrible. Yeah.
Now in the summertime, I can't get it below 80% humidity, 75% humidity.
Really?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets humid in Alabama, dude. It's super sticky. But that's perfect.
Marshall, I was thinking about you the other day. You're born and raised in Alabama?
Florida.
No. Raised, but I've lived here since I was 6 or 7 years old, 8 years old.
Yeah. But you were raised there. You've got Alabama childhood memories.
I did.
And he has an Alabama accent, dude. He's fucking
southern raising memories.
Hey, I bet that makes
I've got me and my silly snake names. I've got a snake, that one on the opening picture that's really solid black. I've been thinking about naming him Black Velvet Elvis. And
wow.
But you'd have to be from back in the South. There were people that would have these Black Velvet Elvis paintings.
Yeah.
They still do.
Right next to their dogs playing poker.
Bro, my grandma had one. My grandma had the exact. I know what you're talking about, dude. I'm not joking.
Yeah. So
there's a million different ones.
And I would just call him Elvis, but it would be a fun little thing to, when I would write out his name on the internet, call him Black Velvet Elvis.
Elvis sounds better.
Huh?
Black Velvet Elvis sounds better.
It's cool, yeah.
Oh, okay, on the
You know,
top,
I could call him like Freezer Burn or, you know, or some other shit like that. But I'm like, I don't care. I'll call him something funky and weird.
I wouldn't want to name a chondro anything that has to do with the name Freezer for sure. just to be on the safe side, you know what I mean? But dude, all right, speaking of black velvets or anything black,
well, and you know, his mom was Hot Stuff and her dad was Velvet, right? So he's from Christian's Velvet Blondie pairing, and
go.
this would be Velvet would be its grandsire, I guess. So I kind of think that's also a neat little nod there, the Black Velvet Elvis.
So what's
That thing is ridiculous.
What's going on with this snake right here? I don't know where it went.
That's so that's yeah,
That's
and, you
him.
know, that one's
Black
off my
Velvet
male
Elvis.
frostbite, and my male frostbite, I went and compared. Like I went and you know how your phone is, you can just go through the date, and I found when frostbite was that exact age and did a comparison, and this snake is significantly blacker than him. So I'm like, well, you know what I mean? And I don't get as, you know, like people are like, oh my God, you know, just the black, I love it. But I'm always like, whoa, the verdict is not, you know, like let you know, these things can lose black a lot, you know, and so,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you can't get a high black adult unless you start with a high black yearling. So you got to start somewhere.
That's a very good point. You know, obviously, because this is a very exciting game, and you know, the smallest thing can get you all worked up. But man, changes are a part of raising up chondros for sure.
That doesn't mean I'm not excited about it, but I'm like, you know, let's just see what he does over 2 or 3 more years. He's just kind of one of those snakes.
So I have some hot topics for us tonight. You know, one of them being, John, is like, you know, you had a pretty spicy post in the Morelia group, and I kind of want you to break it down. You know, because you know I know you even said that you showed examples of that at times before, where you're showing a pairing, but really like the pairing that you're showing is far from being fully developed to what it currently looks like. But I mean, how long have you been seeing stuff like that? And can you really break down what you meant by that post, if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure. I was actually talking to Brian and them about it before I just like, first off, I'll start by saying I got a little smart ass vibe, you know what I mean, in my veins. And I also I'm not a shit talker or wanting to like stab at people as individuals, but sometimes a little food for thought for the community, just whether it be for people that are thinking about buying snakes or even people that are selling snakes, just to think about like, you know, how are you representing yourself? Are you proud of that? Like, are you really representing your stuff honestly? And so I just think that like there is a lot of snake sales and bragging rights and all those things that come from just well-represented snakes. You don't have to be, I think all of them are beautiful. And so I don't know, I guess what I'm saying is everyone should just be proud to try to post their snakes as honestly and as transparently as they can. And that there's a lot of benefit in that long-term in the community when you post these snakes and I'll tell you, man, I'm talking about people, like even people, I'll sell them a snake. And then like 2 weeks later, they're posting the snake 10 times bluer than I just sold them the snake.
Yeah.
And they just get sucked in. And I'm like,
You think
I get it. And they get all the likes and they get like, huh?
You think they're manipulating the color of an animal?
No, I mean, I just think that your cell phone will give, especially in the world of blue, will give a lot of an assistance to a blue snake.
Or Instagram, right, Marshall? Hey, the fucking Marshall, you should see the filtered fucking photos Marshall did. But to be fair, he completely
They were all reels.
It was an accident, okay? And
they were all reels.
We fixed the glitch, okay?
Well,
they fixed the glitch, but those reels are still jacked. Yeah, the albino looks like freaking somebody painted it with like pink and orange water. Like
he's still getting offers from Korea. He's still getting offers from people from Japan and shit. No,
that's funny.
Listen, I'm not an idiot, dude. Listen, I post a lot of photos. I know with the new iPhone and shit, it's so easy to click a couple things and enhance photos. It's so easy to make a blue background, which makes a bluer snake. I talk to Alex Warren about this all the time, and like, you know, I like taking pictures when it's like it's early. I'm sorry, like almost late morning, where like right before the sun fully comes out, and I like to take pictures right behind my house where it's shaded. And then Alex says, well, sometimes that's almost misrepresenting the snake. But for me, I feel like that's the clearest shot. You could see everything in the snake. But what's crazy is if you were to put that snake in the sun, it's going to look like a completely different snake. And even if you take the sun, and then if you take the snake inside the house or in your room, it's going to look like a completely different snake. So what photo gives it legitimacy? Like what photo can you say?
Now that I believe, because I will even take my snakes and I will look at them with my eyes, and I really push myself. I'll be like, what am I really seeing with my eye right now? And I'll like take photos, and I'll go through my photos, and I'll like be looking at the snake in the photo. And there is no doubt that a blue snake does look nicer outside in a kind of that overcast, shady spot. It's brighter and prettier. There's no doubt. That natural light showing off their real colors is.
I don't think there's anything wrong with representing a snake like that.
I don't.
No, not at all.
There's one thing about manipulating a picture. There's another thing about trying to take a picture of the animal in its best light.
Right. Like there's nothing, I mean, this is, I feel like really good lighting and very good example of what you're showing right here. But what's crazy is if this was outside, it's not going to look like this. It's going to show
look really radioactive. I'd have to work hard to make that blue not look fake.
Yeah. So again, I don't think people, not everyone, right? I do think there's a percentage of people who know what they're doing, and it's mainly people who aren't really I don't know, I can't say it's not really the ones who are breeding it, but I definitely could see the ones who inquire them and they buy them and they post it. It's like, holy shit, that thing upgraded pretty quickly. You know what I mean? But then again, like where do we grow? Where's it really crossing the line? I feel like wherever
and that's why I would never, like, I don't even mean anything other than just like only you, like I said, like only you can like do the whole like look at the snake and look at the picture thing. Just look at them and just try your best to not produce the radioactive glowing pictures. Is you know what I mean? Like, and trust me, dude, I have really looked back at my own photos like from years ago and things that passed my sniff test. And like I would look at it, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I posted. You know, like I look at like pictures of like Wrangler and shit. I'm like, man, I don't know if he was quite that blue. You know what I mean? A second look at him later, like 5 years later, I'm like, So,
Well, there's a difference, John, if you're taking a picture and you're, like we talked about manipulating the color or that's totally different than if you just take a picture of the animal and somebody posted on the comments that social media can make your pictures look so different.
Yeah.
As long as you're not doing anything intentionally to manipulate how that animal really looks. I mean, I think there's a little bit of leadway there.
But as somebody who builds your own resume, if you post a picture and you even could see like, oh, what is that? You got to do something about it, because if not, you leave it there. People are gonna judge you. You'll get judged all day. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're Marshall, he don't give a fuck. That was legit a fucking one-off situation.
I think there was like 4 or 5, but who
who cares? Who blew up? No, but yeah, and you know what's another crazy thing, man? I would say one of the things about coming across Bill's work for the very first time, he had an iconic like flower background. He had the bush. That bush you would always post in front of Bill, right? Yeah. And that always made me feel like, dude, I need to find that background where I could always bring my snake, and it's always the spot I go to. And man, I remember having that at my very first trap. And then when I moved here, it depends where the sun's at. And I'm always trying to find a good spot. I like outside shots more than anything, but I'm always trying to find the best background shot for the snake and the animal. And I feel like people should really just pay attention to these snakes that they're posting, because people do pay attention.
It's funny, MJ, that you say that, because you're talking about pictures that I took at my old place.
Yeah.
A new place, I've gone completely the opposite. I'm going to post all these snakes against a brick wall. They're all going to be posted against the exact same brick wall. I don't want you looking at the fucking brick wall. I want you to look at the animal.
I'm admiring my flowers.
All mine are basically have the floor of my room as the background.
Yeah.
So Marshall, you don't take your pictures outside?
Very rarely.
All mine are outside.
But I mean, shots like this, dude. I mean, even because it's hard to get a really good shot with the flash, But depending on the snake,
the other thing is, I think it's cool to like just take a picture of your snakes in a couple different ways. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then the mind. Well, those of us with experience seeing our snakes and outdoor and indoor and flash shots, there's a little averaging that you can go on and be like, all right, I kind of get what that snake really looks like. He's posted the outdoor shade shot and the sun shot and I think that's another way of doing it is posted a bunch of different ways. That's one way of, and that's kind of how I will sometimes try to I'm like, hey, it's a tough snake to honestly represent, you know what I mean? And so I just take a bunch of different shots.
I would rather underrepresent a snake in a picture than overrepresent. I don't want anybody to ever open a box and go, oh, damn, this doesn't look nearly as nice as your
100%.
picture.
You just want to be where they'll be super stoked when they open the box and
absolutely.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Wasn't the post that you made though? Wasn't it more about showing pictures of the adults in their adult state versus using pictures of the adults while they were changing?
Or they're talking about blue snakes. But one of my posts was about you see the this is not as prevalent anymore because of the advent of cell phones. But you used to see back in the day a lot that people would raise the snake up and capture the glamour shot of it to represent the snake. And then just forevermore, that was the image that was seared into the community's mind of that snake. Yeah. And snakes, now Dave actually kind of really started pushing this on his website. Under each picture of the snake is a date at which the picture was taken. And some of them he hasn't updated in a long time, but at least you know that. And some of them, and he basically has said, I do that because, if I pull a snake out and take a fresh picture of it, I'll update the picture on the website because chondros are known to, whether it be lose a little black or gain blue or all kinds of things, they can do a lot of shifting around, and mature over time, especially these calicos and stuff. I got calicos that are, they have orange on them and stuff and red on them stuff and 4 and 5 years old. So they really have some changing to do.
So one of the things that's pretty new to me, not really new, but you definitely have people who follow your work enough to almost determine to be confident to know exactly what you have already. And what I mean by that is I got a calico designer from Mark Hager, 3 years ago, and he ended up siring a couple of my clutches. So nice. As I've been showing the babies, I put calico male from Mark Hager to BIAC. And next thing you know, and this is expected, right? But you have people saying, well, MJ has 3% calico in his stuff and he's trying to see it as calico. And I'm like, okay, so let me, and okay, that's fair. Let me look into it because I don't want to misrepresent anything. And I'm just doing what I saw Mark and others can do. So let me look into it. And then I find out what is the true percentage of this calico stuff that people really have to the point where you could tell me I have it or not. And I'm, since you work with this so much, John, and again, I let the snakes do the talking. I let what I see prove what I have. But in your eyes, when does somebody have to say they don't have calico stuff because how low the percentage is? Or and
the thing about the calico line is it's not really been line bred. So it is in a perpetual state of dwindling down.
Dilution.
Yeah. And so, and there are I've been thinking about that too, about how to explain that. And the blue line and the way it was bred with this kind of line breeding strategy, they got people really fixated on percentage of, and while that's, I guess, can be played with delicately, just trying to achieve these high percentage animals, that can come with some problems. You're just breeding really tightly genetic stuff. Anyway, so Maxwell, I think the first pairing he did was computer chondro. I think it was to its sister.
Yeah.
And that's what produced Cal Jr. And so, those are the originals. But at that point, he started to breed it to what I'd consider compatible females, but they were outcrosses. Genetically, they were phenotypical, good compatible matches. And so there's always been this thing about some people think that a calico is this look, and some people think it's this genetic thing, and all of that. Well, and I'll just I think first off, to even be in the conversation. Like, I do think respectfully, it does need to be a genetic tie back to Maxwell's stuff.
Right.
Otherwise you just have you have a really cool snake. It's not bad, but it's like you have it's like kind of Sandro discovered that snake Insanity. He didn't try to say what I have is a calico animal. He said, I've got, and he created this little Insanity line thing. And yes, now those are cool to cross to the calicos. And it's the same thing like the Dream line or Pedro over in Europe. He discovered Mosaic. And like, man, in fact, dude, if you come up with one that proves to be heritable and it's unique, that's super cool. You should actually try to define your shit as separate. And the only reason you would want to get cloaked in the name calico is just from a value perspective. Like I see the calico one selling for so much. I want mine to be that too. So I think that's like, no, it does at least need to have the genetic tie to Maxwell's stuff. It's got to have, it's like in England, right? Like
the lines.
You can be outcrossed a gazillion times, but there is a genetic tie to the royal blood, right? It's got to have the royal blood. And so there's that. And then
Johnny, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you think as long as you have the ties back to a Maxwell animal, even if it's 10% calico, you could call that a calico or a calico outcross.
Yeah, or calico line animal. And I was actually thinking about that part. Like, then there's the people that think, well, like if it doesn't have the neck or it doesn't have the whatever, or it doesn't, then it's not a calico. Because I guess sometime back in the day, Greg Maxwell in his book gave some framework to like what made one. And so there are some people that say, well, like Greg described it. But man, when we started crossing them to the Dream thing and you see things like that black male that you just showed, I think what we're going for is phenotypically super extreme animals. And they're not necessarily yellow or black or brown or anything. The shit is wonderful. It expresses itself in all kinds of different ways. And you might say, well, at 1%, is it really the calico blood that's doing anything? There does seem to be, even if the percentage of blood is dwindling down, there does seem to be a little magic that gets passed along the way.
Yeah, I agree.
It just does. And so ones that tie back to the line have been proven to throw the most extreme, beautiful snakes, in a lot of people's eyes. So I don't fight that part. But I guess if you wanted to play by those people that think that way as rule, you would just call your green ones calico line animals, your calico outcross animals, and the ones that were super freak, like in appearance, kind of one of those, like, it if you see it type things. It's like, it is what it is. And then you could call those calico. And that may be like what I would do online. Like if I was like showing some green snake, it's just bright green, looked like an aru, but had a calico dad, I'd be like, this nice calico line female is coming up to age, can't wait to breed her. That might be like what I would do just to play online. But if I was talking to you, whatever, and we were collabing on it, and like you were Christian or something, and this was a descendant of Velvet, I would be shucking and jiving with him on the phone, like, yeah, that green calico girl, yeah, man, she's gravid. I'm gonna get her, dude, I can't wait till she lays. And I would just be referring to her, but what I mean, like, he knows who I'm talking about and that kind of shit. So
yeah. Well, there you have it. As long as it's
I just, and I don't want to be the one like at all that defines what people do. But yeah, man, if it's tied back to the calico line stuff, and you are, man, like these police, like they need to be a damn cop. You know what I mean? Like
I was just thinking,
they can't pass the physical. That's the thing. There's no way they could be a police. They can't even climb a wall. These fucking chumps, dude. But I will tell you this. Dude.
I guess what I'm saying is one post and one statement is not a person's complete effort at representing the animals. Like if you were to get into conversation and someone would be like, yeah, man, well, I mean, her dad was this and her mom was that and her da-da-da-da-da, and these were my results. And I mean, how can anyone claim you're not representing the animals? Honestly, you're willing to describe them in detail.
It's transparency, right? Just transparency.
Yeah.
But if you want, I mean, like, I guess you could add the word line, calico line, female, and maybe that'll solve it for them.
Yeah. I want to show some of the raise ups that you have going.
But I do think it's foul play to like call some bullshit that's not even related to Greg's work a calico line animal. And people would be like, calico is not a genetic, it's a look, it's a blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, the only reason you're trying to do that is because you just want the brownie points that come along with the calicos. Call your shit something else, man.
Oh, shit.
If it's so nice.
If you don't got the paper trail, don't lie about it. That's
I mean, yeah, it's all good.
Okay, but
and that comes from in the ball python community. People wouldn't even know some of these. I was thinking about that too. They wouldn't be able to attribute some of these morphs back. Maybe like Pete Call and the first ever pieds or something like that, or the guys that discovered the first albino. But there's so many morphs that I'm sure a lot of the ball python keepers don't have that like grandfather of the hobby lore. And like for us, I would just never step on Greg's toes like that. I just know him personally, and or at least through professionally through the hobby and that kind of thing. And that's his work. And I'd call my stuff something different if I discovered some fluke new gene.
Not to get off topic, but Greg Maxwell confirmed Trap Fest this year, just so you guys know. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
so another reason why John should pull up, because it'd be iconic to have you here with Maxwell.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to.
Date changed because I'm making sure Bill Stiegel comes this year. A fucking 100%. And Marshall, he has no choice. No matter what's happening in his life, I'll make sure he's here.
I love that. I'd love to like pull out my phone and be like, Greg, look what the fuck your bloodline is still doing, bro. Like, it's the shiz.
Dude. But okay, you know, with you being around as long as you have, you know, and really, dude, I feel like it's all about getting game passed down to the next generation. You know, if you have, because one of the hardest things I feel like people need to understand, it's almost like the ball python game. You get to the point of being able to breed. We all know breeding ball pythons is easy. The hardest thing with ball pythons is having to sell your ball pythons. And right now, I even seen some chondro people who have stuff. They're either just overly priced, but they can't sell their stuff. You know, so it's not. Is as booming as the chondro world is, it's still not like anyone could sell anything at any price. Like, you know, a lot of things do come into factors, and I'm curious, like, what you feel like people who are just now getting into their first seasons, like, what could they expect selling either outcross designer stuff from you? You know, like if they bought a $6,000 snake from you, John, and they get that snake to breed, are they allowed to price all their snakes at $6,000 now? Is that how that works? You know what I mean?
Well, they're allowed to do whatever they want. Let's start there.
Technically, yeah. Correct.
Definitely allowed. People are allowed to do whatever they want. I've sold people snakes. Well, I don't understand what, like when I price stuff, sometimes I'll like bounce around ideas with friends and see what they think. And like, what do you think? And I just try to come up with a number that I think is fair. And I think about supply and demand. And I think about the hard work I've put into my collection. And, you know, I do all of that kind of stuff. And so, right. And then I have seen people that have taken snakes that I've sold them and turned around and, like I've sold people like 10 grand, really high end males. And then they produced offspring and they were pricing the unchanged babies at that. And I was like, well, I mean, that was a changed male. Like that wasn't the number. Like I didn't.
You're selling a dream.
Yeah. I was like, damn. So anyway, I mean, these were like really hot, like a hot male. And then, you know, how they paired, I'm like, well, damn, you know, and I sold those as neonates at, you know, a number a little bit less than that. So I was like, man, you know, but hey, I'm not going to call them and be like, I think you're overpricing your stuff. It's like, I don't care.
Listen, I think pricing, and I literally get messaging every day. How much should I price this at? You know, this, especially a lot of times there are animals that came from me or my, you know, animals that I produced. It's such a tough conversation to have. It depends on so many factors. How fast do you need the money? How fast do you need to move it? How much do you want to keep it? You know, I would never, ever, ever tell anybody you've priced an animal too high or too low.
Right.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Price it how you see fit. If it sells on the first day, you price it too low. And if it hasn't sold in 6 months, you price it too high.
Yep. And if you're
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So the ones
I agree. Like I think that I think people have to, it's kind of like ease their way. They have to build a reputation. There's a lot, there's a little bit more to it than just genetics and I have babies.
Absolutely.
I agree.
So, I think that there's a lot more. It's just like anything that you're having to build awareness around your trustworthiness and your reputation and your customer service. And so in the early days of that, you may not be able to you may not charge as much.
I agree 100%.
I think Bill's the first person who I saw, like, it hasn't happened a lot, but at least a couple times I've seen Bill sell snake to somebody. It turned a crazy fucking OCC and they fucking made a few thousand on top of that snake.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen it more than, and I don't even think that bothered you, right, Bill? Like, fucking go for it, right?
Doesn't bother me one bit.
Oh.
Doesn't bother me one bit.
Makes no sense to get rid of a snake like that, to be honest.
It makes no sense to get rid of a 2.5 or 3-year-old male that looks badass and sell it for a couple thousand or a few thousand more than what you paid for it. I mean, are you kidding me? You're going to make 10 times that the first time you pair it.
Sweet priority.
There's some snakes that they just, in my group, it's like once they cross over a certain age and a certain quality level, I'm like, you just couldn't offer me enough. Like, someone's like, oh man, everybody's got a number. And I'm like, no, dude, like this one's going to die here, bro. Not leaving.
Again, you could price it at an incredibly crazy price, but it doesn't make sense for the buyer or for the seller to sell it because there's no guarantee on the buyer's end that it's going to produce or even survive.
Yeah.
And as a keeper, I just know the return on investment on an animal like that. So it makes no sense to sell it.
And some things I'm like, nah. It's just somebody with big pockets and they want to buy something flashy. I'm like, this snake would be just better served if it just stayed here. Like,
for sure.
I don't want to send it off to be killed. No. So anyway.
No, I agree.
People.
Yeah. I mean, because, as much as we love, the money this hobby could bring, it's not about the money. It's about literally having the coolest fucking chondros on earth, or at least working your way up there.
Yeah, I'm trying to do.
Wait, hold on. I just want to say, I got 3 of the baddest fucking chondro breeders on earth on this screen right now. That's fucking pretty awesome to say. Like, you guys all have the type of shit where, like, again, unless you're Bill will sell a fucking snake all day, every day. But you fuckers, you guys have, something that you stick to. And we all know Marshall stickler when it comes to selling any chondro. It ain't happening. We don't even know a possible date yet when he's gonna have an available chondro. We don't. And he has stock, which is crazy, right, Marshall?
You got to remember, MJ, I don't have a day job.
I get it.
Right.
No, Bill, your situation is so different, buddy. I get it, okay? And you're years into this, okay? Bill, you travel, you go
out of his 401k.
Yeah, Bill. I'm gonna be Bill someday. That's all I'm looking forward to. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. But yeah, I think I just had Miguel on the show, a well-known ball python breeder, and he had somebody from South Korea fly all the way to his house, offer him over 6 figures was for certain snakes that he knew he was about to breed that year. And to him, as much as 6 figures sounds a lot, it made no sense for him to let those snakes go. And right now in the ball python game, if somebody can make 6 figures, dude, the majority will do that in a heartbeat because it's ball pythons right now. But this Miguel's somebody who sees the big picture, and I feel like it's the same with chondros. Like, you got to have a fucking big picture that you're locked in on, and nothing's gonna ruin it. You're gonna pursue that dream.
Right.
And again, there's even no guarantee either. It's this fucked up thing. It's like you can have all these plans, but really
I was sitting here thinking, like, the key thing that a lot of people lack, and I was joking, and I was like, I don't even want to say this. I don't want to inspire.
Say it.
You gotta have focus. If you're not focused, you're gonna, you know what I mean? Like, stay focused. Like, people that are like they're just like here today and gone tomorrow and buy a yearling and well, this one's changing and then they can't stand it and someone offers some money and and they're just like, man, just get together a little group and stay focused, and they're like, and that's where the success comes. And if you're working on a little project, stay focused on it.
Yeah, I guess it's what happens.
Marshall is a perfect example. Just lock steady on the albino project, and he's got a visual. It's fucking incredible, dude. That's like
life commitment right there.
The idea that one day he could pair that visual and get 100% hits and move the project forward. That takes focus. That project could have gotten in the wrong hands and been squandered by someone else.
Or be dead, be gone.
Be gone.
Yeah, no doubt.
And what's crazy, the way you accomplished it, man, like the odds were fucking not in your favor. You know what I mean?
I like that basic female. It took a patient keeper for that albino project to be where it's been, or
Yeah.
where it's been.
And enough things happened to you where you could be like, fuck this shit, dude. Like, I'm so over it, but it never was an option for you, Marshall, which is why it's really hard to hurt your feelings in any department. But okay, real quick, on the topic of the albino, we still don't know if it's a male or female, Marshall. You still don't know.
Still don't know. No, my buddy Jake was over here last week, and he was like, "Man, you want to sex the albino?" And I was like, I'm not ready to sex it yet. I mean, why? What?
Is it a couple hundred grams?
It's coming up on 2 years old. I don't know I don't know the weight, but yeah, it's coming up on 2 years old.
Hell.
And you wouldn't want to pair that to like what, 4 or like, you know, or you do you even have a? I mean, mind you, if it was a male, like if it was a male,
If it's a male, that I would try. I mean, next year would
You should be breeding it
would
now.
you try it, right?
You should throw them in there. Let's see what happens. Watch it be
It's actually not a bad. It's actually not a bad idea.
Right.
No,
I throw it in there now. Your biggest female, throw it in there.
Trial by fire, right?
Throw a ball python to it.
I would love, you know what I mean? And, well, there you go. That's a perfect example. I mean, like, there's nothing to inquire about there with Marshall. He's got a lot of work to do, but I would love to see some continued success. And that would be really cool one day for there to be enough of those to get like a calico, or an albino. That'd be so sick.
Calico albino.
Yeah. And to get to, so anyway, maybe in a decade or something. You know?
It'd be a decade.
Maybe.
Slow burn, but that'd be so cool.
All right, let's go around the horn, wrap up topic of the episode. Let's start with you, Bill. Anything you want to wrap up with John on tonight's episode?
I just got to ask John, what's the last thing you brought into your collection? And do you have your eyes on anything else that you would want to complement your breeding projects?
Well, the last thing I brought in is I got a snake from Dave from his Splash Biak bred to the TSK, the Tiger Stripe. So the TSK Calico Splash Biak male that he had bred to his Rico produced bright yellow Tiger Stripe girl. And you showed a picture of her, that high yellow snake that you're like, oh, look at that flash shot.
Yeah.
That snake. And I call her Gold Digger. And I got her to do wild, like if Warzone would kick in, I'm going to breed like a black thing to her, or just super freaky, or like a bright blue snake to her or something.
When did you get her, John? How long have you had her?
Maybe 2 years or a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay.
Badass.
Anything else on your radar?
So that's the last thing I've purchased. Ed is working on me. I might pick up which is funny. He's like, I was like, man, Ed, my old Uzi ass over here, she might go out on me. Who knows? So I got him lined up on a female, and then my damn female ovulates. And I'm like, damn, now I'm about to have all my own baby, so anyway, I'm getting a female basin probably from Ed.
Yeah, dude, do that, please. And let me know if he sells you another male. You're probably gonna leave with more than one snake for sure. Marshall, what do you got for John?
No, I noticed that here recently you kind of cleared out some stuff with your Gilas and your. Have you streamlined everything? You got just Chondros emeralds now, and that's it, or
just
what?
Chondros and emerald. Oh, I have a pair of Bolins, but
okay.
I have warmed up to the idea I may part with those one day. And if anything, I'm just waiting to get past it. I was kind of thinking I'd get past the first of the year just to move the sale over into a 2026 thing. But
sell the Bolins?
I might. I'm not 100% sure.
How old are they, John? How old are the Bolins? How old are they?
3 or 4 years old.
Oh, wow.
How old?
3 or 4 years old.
Yeah, that's perfect. And it's a for sure pair?
Let's slam some small and medium, some medium rats.
Where'd you get them from?
We got them from Cam. Dave and I, we kind of like got a hold of Ryan Burke and started like a long time ahead of time, put out the word. Huh?
It's part of that group that Dave D had, like, or something like that. It didn't. Okay, all right.
We got a big group, but we got like 8 Neos, and they were all
unsexed,
pre-shed, pre-first shed.
Oh wow! So they're fresh,
brand spanking new, and
Damn.
Dave got them, and then we ended up, Brian Fisher got a pair and he ended up selling his pair. And so anyway, and Dave sorted out the girls that he needed and let go of some males or something like that. And then I'm left with my pair.
Why would you want to part? I'm just curious. Why would you want to part with your pair? Just
so one of the reasons I'm like, well, they're taking up a lot of space and they hold a lot of value. So there's an expensive thing that's sitting there with a low likelihood, or at least a lower likelihood of breeding.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, so I've got a high, there's risk involved in owning them, and it's just kind of sitting there. And then the other thing, man, is Bolins are always turned on. They are a very crawling around. And man, these things are, it's just sometimes it's a little aggravating. I'm like, man, I just, changing their water. They're just, you're ducking and dodging these things.
They're spicy, huh?
They're spicy.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So they're pretty large. They take up space. They hold a lot of value. I'd love it. I mean, there's a part of me that's like, well, I'm so close. Maybe I'll take a shot at breeding them.
Yeah. That's how I was with my Moluccan scrub pythons. I was parting ways with all my big snakes. I'm like, I'm keeping these forever. And then as I get to the point of needing more space, I'm like scratching my head. I'm like, these fucking Moluccans need 6-foot cages now. I'm like, damn, dude. Like, and what are the odds of these guys breeding? Like, or just even the knowledge of breeding scrubs. So I was just like, oh man, I'd rather put these in somebody else's hands who are excited.
A little more focused collection. Someone again, I think if you're focused on things, you're better off. And so anyway.
That's the one thing that comes to mind. Justin Kabolka, when we visited the facility, we asked him, are you going to breed chondros? You're going to breed chondros? Because no, I'm going to stay focused on what I know. Yeah. I'm going to stay just, focused on what's worked for me. I follow the same philosophy. Just stay concentrated, stay focused, do what you do.
I had geckos with my daughter, and I found out no thanks. Like anything that eats like crickets or needs vegetables chopped. So I had this rule that it's got to be a rodent eater. It just has to eat rodents.
Yeah, it's easier.
Call them all one time. Everything gets fed. But then I had the Gilas, and they got disqualified eventually because they just have a different breeding rhythm. Like you brumate them, and then you breed them in the spring, and I'm trying to do my snake thing over here, and I can't be split-brained. So I was like, all right, it has to be a rodent eater, and it has to ride through the cycling and the normalcy of the room. And the room is set up to breed chondros. So that could be probably ball pythons. I don't know. Do you cycle them? Like, do you cool them a little bit?
Yeah. I just let the room do it. Like, it's just kind of
they would just mesh into they would be like, I like these temps and I like these lows, and they would probably breed.
Fine. Yeah, they do just fine. I think there's somebody in Canada, Corey, what was it, Corey Woods or something? I forget. Anyways, but he lets his room drop down to the 50s. Like it's literally goes all the way to the 50s. And he discovered that once he had a power outage one winter, and he had one of the best breeding seasons ever. And so he just continued to do that. And he always has high, success rate when it comes to getting clutches, dropping them that low. So yeah. So the basins kind of can stay because they give me something different to observe, but I'm not having to like try to run my room in like two different ways, and things are banging together, not getting along in there as far as my groove. You know what I mean? I'm trying to focus on the main show, which is breeding chondros. All right. Well, my last question for you, John. Where do you see things heading in the next 5 years? You've been a part of this hobby for a while now. I think we've seen the biggest growth over the last couple of years. But do you kind of predict this growth to continue? Do you think it's going to level out? It's like where do you really think things are headed for the green tree python? I think it's going to continue to grow. I think it's going to continue to grow as far as the popularity for the species. I think as we've learned more and more about keeping them clean and stuff, they're easier to keep alive, and captive bred stuff so tame. Like I said, these Bolins are fiery, man, and my chondros are just so easy going. They're kind of like, just pull them off of perches and whatever you need to do. So I think that as the more we encourage people to see that, chondros are easy to keep and enjoyable to keep and not mean. So I think that that's going to encourage them. And then I also think that the designer stuff is like really just getting started. I think that the designer stuff has got, I'm not saying that we won't just see kind of rinse, repeat, like more extreme, like, oh, there's another extreme black snake and another extreme blue snake. But they will become more numerous. And then you'll see a bunch of, crazy
freaks. Chondros really are wildly endless as far as the colors and patterns and things. So a lot of room there to play around and have fun.
Yeah, like endless possibilities, man. It's almost like the ball python game. Like it's just never going to end. Like
I fully respect that about the ball python. It's almost like it's like too big for me to jump in. It's like, wow, a lot to learn, but I'm intrigued. I'm like, oh, I see it. They're like layering stuff and building things, and I love that. It's super cool.
I feel like that's where this game is headed, especially with the lineages and getting like a Irby line to like a Bill Stiegel stuff that he's done, meshing all that together. Like that's really going to be the future of this game. I feel like, and again, we're going to see freak shows. We're going to see nothing but shit that we've probably never seen before. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. There's a lot of really cool snakes coming.
What an amazing episode, man. Hopefully we see you again this year. I think we will. It's only January. I love having you on, John. Where can people follow you?
Some things in life. I'm going to come up to Tinley this year and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to the Trap Fest, bro.
Yeah, dude. Oh, wait, hold on. So, Tinley, do you go to March or October? Which one do you prefer?
Mostly October.
Yeah, well, I'll be there for sure in October.
See you there, brother.
Yeah, brother. Hey, where can people reach you, John, in case anyone wants to hit you up or follow you?
Yeah, the easiest thing is on Instagram or Facebook on my page, Mid-Atlantic Arboreals. It looks like I'm having a nice year. I'll just tell everybody, like, be patient. I'm not one that likes to I know what you're trying to do is get a commitment, and I'm not trying to commit. So I'm trying to hatch my clutches and see what I get and look at my babies and figure out what I've got. And so just, but I actually, of course I'm not keeping them all. So just understand some good stuff's coming and that kind of thing. So
take some deep breaths, people.
Take some deep breaths. Well, I posted some eggs and like everybody like shot me a message like, what are you cooking over there? And I'm like, whew.
And quit showing sire pics when it was 18 months. All right. Everybody have a good night out there. Appreciate you. Guys, do me a favor. Give it up. It's a wrap for John Irby. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, John.
Thank you,
John. Guys. Always so happy to be on and chat with you guys. And appreciate being here.
You're the man, dude. Thanks so much, John. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Yeah, brother.
Cheers.
See you, man.
Great show, dude. Epic. What'd you think, Marshall?
That's great. John's always a pleasure to have on. He's definitely at the forefront of things, and his animals are amazing, top notch. Up there with anybody. Like the way he's very detail oriented, very just a cool dude.
Yeah, I think I love the story, Freight Train, man. It was cool to get that like refresher, Bill. But again, also shows your ties with some of the best people we have in the hobby. So what'd you think of tonight?
Well, John's one of the GOATs.
Yeah.
He's a great ambassador to our community. He's well-spoken, produces great stuff.
Yeah. What
else could you ask for? I mean, I'm so glad he's a part of our community. I'm so glad he came on tonight. He's one of the guys that I really, really respect in the community. I think his knowledge is unmatched by anybody in our community. He's seen it all. He's done it all. I just think we're so lucky to have him.
I agree, man. I like his demeanor. Cool, calm, and collective. You know what I mean?
Cool, calm, and collective, not egotistical, down to earth.
Likes fish.
A perfect audio, perfect video, no sound check. Unlike Marshall, was fucking. You know what I mean? I hope Marshall took notes tonight.
Listen, Marshall was fucking spot on tonight.
He was. Marshall, you fucking nailed it out of the park with your audio and your camera and even your questions, buddy. You killed it tonight, dude. I think it's the bi-weekly. I think it's the whole going bi-weekly is keeping this guy fresh.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
I was wearing him out.
You're beating him down.
You look forward to it now, every 2 weeks. It's like we're not struggling to find stuff to talk about. It's I think it's better.
Okay, Marshall, speak for yourself. Okay, I was always having fun. I was never struggling with questions or
I was never having. Well, you know me in questions. So
I'm just kidding, dude. All right, fellas, I love having you guys on. This is awesome. I'll see you in a couple weeks. For now, guys, follow Red Mountain Herps and go subscribe to Phoenix Reptiles on IG. Bill, you're the man. Marshall, love you, man. Give it up to Rapper Bill. Marshall, ladies and gentlemen.
See you in 2.
See you, fellas.
Bye, guys. Have a good night. Thank you so much. Ah, man, what a bunch of awesome guys, man, all the way around. This is a legendary episode. Being the freshest one on the screen, most wet behind the ears as far as anyone on the screen goes tonight. I don't know why I'm looking at the camera. My bad. Camera's not on. I don't want to talk about it. Coffee issue. But yeah, dude, great episode. This is an episode I'll be playing back for sure. Again, exactly what Bill said. John Irby, wealth of knowledge for sure. So guys, make sure you go give him a follow if you're not already. I'm surprised if you're not already following John Irby, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure you find all the links to my sponsors in the description below. Shout out to Mark Hager from Texas Chondros. Make sure you head over to TX Chondros on Instagram. Make sure you go to his website, texaschondros.com. Be on top of everything that Mark Hager has going on. And also shout out to the Reptile Perch, number one purchase in the game. And that's a fact. So again, shout out to all my sponsors. Shout out to you for supporting the channel. If this is your first time watching, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a comment. Let me know what you like best out of this episode. And I'll catch you on the next Trap Talk. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Tonight's episode is brought to you by David Brahms from the Reptile Perch. If you have an arboreal species, you definitely want to make sure you are using a David Brahms design perch over at the Reptile Perch. You can get any size perch you want for any size arboreal, anywhere from hatchlings all the way from adults. Everything you see behind me is on a David Brahms design PVC perch. So thank you so much to the Reptile Perch for doing everything that you've been doing with these awesome, affordable perches for people to take advantage of. And you can find David Brahms's website in the description below. Simply go to www.reptileperch.com or just go to Reptile Perch on Instagram. And you can also see many of David's awesome green tree python projects. He's also a highly successful green tree python breeder. Been looking up to for the last few years as well. So to have his support really means the world to me. Thank you so much, David Brahms over the Reptile Perch. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors.
For over a decade, we've pursued a singular vision, producing the finest breeding stock the hobby has ever seen. From carefully planned pairings to thoughtfully designed environments, every detail is considered. And when you bring one of our animals home, you're not on your own. We provide lifetime husbandry support every step of the way. Whether you're building your first enclosure or expanding your collection, we're here for you. Sundown Reptiles.